and came up with a very simple concept, which was to save me from having to write end-to-end tests based on a GitHub diff. So I made a diff, you know, there's a difference between branch A and branch B. I would have to write a test for that typically, but why not have, you know, an AI agent write it for me and then poop it out, and then I just throw it up in the project, and boom, I'm done.
Right,
Wouldn't that
right.
be great?
Yeah, get yourself an intern, right?
Basically, yeah.
Who could help you with this.
Right.
So cool. So,
But
you know, okay.
Directly useful to me at my job.
It would be useful in your job, okay. So maybe it's just the same. So here we've got a similar setup, but I've given it some slightly different tools, and we'll see if we can see the difference. So here I've actually got this function that I called Cypress test update. So we saw earlier we had the regular white button, boring, and the green button, very exciting, right?
Very
yeah. And that we see is in that project. And you see here, I'm not giving it a local directory. I could give it a local directory of content, but I'm actually pointing it at Git. And I'm saying, hey, grab this thing and pull it in. And luckily, we have some caching working in our favor. Oh, it needs a little key to get something as well. And now we've got some instructions for it to kind of run some tests. And let's see it do it. So it actually ran the first Cypress test to make sure that there was just the words, you know, hello from Dagger in there. And now it's actually writing a test on its own. It's writing a new test, and we'll see if it actually works. And it's going to try and run both of the tests and see if they both still work. And so it looks like it's running the button style test that it made.
Might be better at naming files than I am.
And now it's got, oh, it made a mistake. It didn't quite work. And it's like, oh, here, why don't you try and write it? Attempt this. Wait, it gave up? Well, maybe. Sometimes it does. And sometimes
it's only temporary execution error.
Ah, okay. Well, sometimes you want it to give up because sometimes, you know, you don't want to just like burn all your tokens and waste all your money. And then sometimes you don't want it to give up. So actually, I have cooking show-like. I have one instance here where it actually was, where it was actually successful. And this is the curl clone. This is it writing a Cypress test update. And in this Cypress test update, you could see that it wrote a new test here, this button style test. And this one looks pretty simple. Let's see if we can actually get that guy to go, and then we'll actually jump in and look at it. So we'll run this again. More fingers crossed.
Now it's like a real engineer.
Like
do it again.
Do it again. It's like earlier. It's like just keep pushing to get, see if it works. And then again, we can see this all happening. And actually, I'm going to increase the verbosity on this thing so we can see all this stuff happening. And you can actually get really verbose in the TUI as well and get like a lot of information. Let's actually resize that a little bit. Okay, round two. How do we feel? This one, it's spec test passed. Okay, there it is. Look at that. The wonder of, this is where you clap. The wonder, thank you. It was a good effort. There we go. Thank you very much. So here it successfully created a Cypress end-to-end test to ensure the button in the application has green button class and styling appropriate and so forth. So like, let's see, like, okay, again, it's this whole question of, okay, did you do it, right? So now we're going to actually look inside of this container that it was working inside of, and we're actually going to put that to bash. We'll take a look. So inside of this Cypress directory, there is an end-to-end directory in there. And oh, sure enough, in the original project, there's just this one Cypress test that says it should say hello from Dagger. And then this one, it actually creates a new test called button change. And this is the test that it created, right? So again, this works well because just like we saw when we were building up Dagger containers where we could like create a container, add a new directory into it, and that became something that we could then bring up as a service or publish or whatever. In the same way here, we could give a workspace container to an LLM and have it go back and forth and add files or directories onto here and execute commands until we got it to work. So this system that was really good for builds can also be really good for things like LLM agents, AI agents.